there. That's how we drew it up. That's how we drew it up.
That's how we do it up. And thank you for hopefully staying up tonight and supporting your team, your town, your Philadelphia 76ers, the start of a 4-game West Coast trip against the Sacramento Kings tonight. I'm Brian Seltzer. Great to see you, Lauren Rosen. Great to see that very nice and wholesome, heartwarming clip that came at the end of practice yesterday with the Sixers warming up for this first game in Sacramento. Tyrese Maxey celebrating a very momentous development at the end of practice yesterday. Great clip.
Yes, so good to see some inside footage from practice. Shout out to our very own Nick McCain, who's with the team. I miss seeing the team practice. I miss them being in high spirits like that. And it's good to know that even though we're not there, it's still happening. There's still a lot of good vibes going on in this team. And in that clip, Seltz, you alluded to it afterwards, Daryl Morey let us into the secrets on Twitter that they had drawn up a play. According to Tyrese, they had drawn it up. We're not sure if it's exactly what they drew up, but there was a play that offered Dwight Howard a 3-pointer to clinch the game against the white team, which is usually the starters, and the blue team, the reserves, in practice. Tobias Harris had a thing or two to say about it on Twitter afterwards. Tobias doesn't believe that it necessarily won the game, but you love to see, no matter what, friendly banter on the court, on Twitter. It was all just good vibes all around.
Absolutely. Great way to start off a long trip. 76ers are going to be on the road through next Monday when they wrap up this trip against the Utah Jazz in Salt Lake City. In between, they'll be at Portland, see the Blazers again this coming Thursday, and then a Saturday matinee with the Phoenix Suns. But the 76ers take on, Lauren, tonight one of the hottest teams in the NBA, the Sacramento Kings. They're 12-11 on the season. The 76ers are 17-7. Sixers, of course, leading the Eastern Conference. Sacramento is in 7th out west. And the Sixers, it's like when they have these 2 idle days between games, I'm like, I need to do a reset on the Sixers. What happened the last time we saw them? Well, what happened was a really great win over the Brooklyn Nets. Don't care who was out there, who wasn't for Brooklyn. 124-108 win for the 76ers. And now they get a great test out west as all 4 opponents on this trip line have winning records.
Yeah, Seltz, you said it. For better or for worse, I think a lot of the marquee matchups this season are going to be absent a few great players. And we saw this on Saturday in South Philadelphia, hosting the Brooklyn Nets without Kevin Durant due to contact tracing and without Kyrie Irving, who had a finger injury. But the Sixers still got up for this one. They brought their best game. Ben Simmons was so aggressive, near to triple-double. Saw great performances from Tobias Harris, from Joel Embiid. It was just such a nice balanced win for the team, and cool to see them put their foot on the gas in the third quarter once again.
We'll talk more about Simmons in a little bit. I agree. I thought he was great. To me, it was such a casual 33-9 for Joel Embiid. Really emphatic dunk by Dwight Howard. But the Sixers, they really did a terrific job, especially in the third quarter. And that was kind of that basket in the corner from Curry to end the second quarter. I thought was a precursor for what was to come. The Sixers shot themselves out of a cannon early on in the third, which is the stage of the game we're looking at now. And they really went to work, outscoring the Nets 43-30 in that period. And that was pretty much the turning point.
No doubt about it. So it's 43-30, like you said, in that third period. And I feel like we've talked about more than a few good third quarters for this team. And as we know, down the stretch, teams that can win the second half traditionally will end up winning the game. And it's been great to see the way they've come out so aggressive. Here we see on offense and on defense, Ben Simmons just so aggressive. I think this has already become one of his trademark plays maybe of the season. Good to see him showing a little bit of emotion and a lot of aggression.
Tobias Harris, especially early on in the game, Lauren, I thought was so essential given the 76ers' energy and presence on the board, something they were lacking in the game last Thursday where they got handed a loss by the Portland Trailblazers. So I thought Tobias was big in setting the tone. Of course, he's so steady start to finish for the 76ers these days in games with 21 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. Continues to play so versatilely, but the starters all finished in double figures, a couple double-figure scores off the bench. All in all, a really solid, complete performance by the 76ers, especially after intermission.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you mentioned Joel Embiid had a rather quiet 33 and 9. I thought Tobias Harris had a pretty quiet 21 and 12. And 21 and 12, that's no small feat. He also played good defense, 6 assists, like you said. And then, of course, off the bench, you alluded to it, Furkan Korkmaz, Shake Milton scoring 15 and 13. Really good to see both of them start to heat up because they can be really key for this team as they continue on. Something that we talked about a little earlier, and I know we'll talk about more later on in the show.
There's a look at the upcoming 4-game trip for the 76ers at the bottom of your screen. When the Sixers got out to the capital city of the Golden State yesterday, they had a practice, and Doc Rivers spoke afterwards about the Sixers' upcoming matchup against the Surging Kings.
No, it feels like we've caught a lot of those teams that are hot, and playing well. Charlotte, we went into Charlotte. I think they had won 3 in a row against quality opponents. Sacramento is on a roll right now. Their last 2 victories against Denver and the Clippers, and that tells you that they're playing well. They're back to playing at the pace that they had with under Dave, Yeager. So Luke and Alvin, they've done a terrific job putting them in position where they can score. So it's going to be a tough game.
Dave Yeager, 76ers assistant coach, who really focuses in on the offensive side of the ball. He was the head coach in Sacramento for 3 years, so that was the reference from Doc Rivers there. And yeah, not only have the Kings knocked off the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets, they beat Boston the game before that. So winners of 7 out of the last 8, a really solid team. But I'll tell you this much, Lauren, when you bring the likes of Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris company on the road, you have to feel like you have a pretty good chance, a fighter's chance at minimum.
Yes, indeed. And this is a team that gets up for challenges. They know that the Kings are on a winning streak, and I'm sure they would feel really good about snapping it tonight.
Talking about Ben Simmons, I think that it was a timely opportunity for him in the game on Saturday against the Nets. High-profile opponent, spotlight situation, primetime Saturday night, to really rise to the occasion early on, get into the cup, giving the 76ers some initial force, driving downhill to open up some space. Had a really versatile stat line per usual, 9th double-double on the season. But really that defense, Lauren, when he switched it on as the game went on, spent more time on James Harden in the second half, coming up so huge for the Sixers and helping them get that win to give them 3.5 games between themselves and the Nets.
Yeah, Celts, you and Doc Rivers had the same take post-game that you both shared with me, that as soon as Ben switched on to James Harden, it really did feel like this game was over. He shut him down, and then he was doing it, as you see there, on the other end of the floor as well. So cool to see Ben show exactly how impactful he can be on both ends of the floor in what was a pretty big game.
And I think that it just underscores the point when we watched that game on Thursday, the tough loss against the Trailblazers. It was very apparent what the 76ers did not have with Ben Simmons sitting out. And then you're reminded of just how important of a piece he is on so many different levels for the Sixers when he has a game like he did on Saturday.
For sure. I love what Seth Curry had to say this morning about Ben. He said there are a lot of guys in the league that might be putting up big numbers, but they're not impacting the game the way that Ben is on both ends of the floor. This is a guy that's really appreciated by his teammates, that really finds them, makes them better, gives them opportunities to get buckets. Ben Simmons' teammates love being teammates of Ben Simmons.
I wish we could have brought Tyler Johnson on as our special Inside Access guest for this edition of 7-6 Live Countdown presented by Tissot to ask him whether or not he thinks Ben Simmons is all-star worthy after having that dunk leveled on his head next time.
I think to borrow a page out of Ala Abdelnaby's book, that's now Tyler Simmons, actually.
That's right. I love it. Ben, after the game, talking about getting the chance to match up with James Harden and help the 76ers to a victory.
How? Being me. I feel like, when I have those assignments, I like to take them, especially, against a player like James. He's incredible offensively. He's very gifted. So just making it tough on him, getting my hands in passing lanes, trying to get steals, and, using my size, against him.
I know I don't get paid, Lauren, to make any editorializing comments, but I must say, I, for one, am very happy to see the fluffy fleece back in vogue? Because if Ben's wearing it, it's fashionable.
It's true. Anything that Ben wears is a sign of what's to come in the fashion game. I, too, am a fan of a fluffy fleece, so was happy to see it.
I think I was probably wearing a fluffy fleece from like Gap back in the day when I was in high school, before some of our viewers were born. This is like vintage, late 1990s Brian Seltzer style. I think it was Gap.
Did you have the bucket hat, too? Did you wear a bucket hat?
No,
in high school
I left that at home, actually. That did not make it into my ensemble ever.
Fair enough.
Bucket hats might be big if you live in a place like Tampa, Florida. And of course, that's where the Super Bowl, that segue, that's where the Super Bowl was played over the weekend on Sunday. And the 76ers left Philadelphia Sunday morning to travel out west. And the team had an opportunity together within a safe setting to watch the Super Bowl together, which I think is just great. There haven't been many opportunities because of health and safety protocol restrictions, especially in your own local market, for teams to hang out. Obviously, this year there was no going away to a separate location for training camp or for the preseason, anything like that, which is actually something that Doc is really big on, at least historically. So the road has been an opportunity for the Sixers, I think, to get to know each other a little bit better.
For sure. I liked that they left early so that they could get there in time to watch the game together. I think that was a special nugget to hear that they enjoyed getting to do that together. And I know we're going to hear from Dwight Howard in just a second, but cool to know that not only did they watch the game, but they drew inspiration from it.
And here's Dwight talking a little bit more about that.
Well, it's pretty cool, for us to be able to just sit down and our goal is to win a championship, and, just watching, the Bucks win it this year, how they played and practiced every day. We used a lot of the Bucks quotes in our practices and stuff like that about, having the process and then the preparation and then at the end of parade. And that's something that, we're striving for, is to really have that parade in Philly. And in order to do that, we got to go through the process of what it takes to be a champion. And that's every single day. And I think that so far we've been doing an amazing job.
Doc Rivers, Lauren, has used that phrase a couple times as well when talking about going about this season, that there's got to be a process before you have a parade. And I don't think that, especially given that this is the first year for Doc and Dwight in Philadelphia, I don't think they're talking about that process. They're talking a more about a microcosm, a smaller scale process once you get to the level where you can be a championship contending team. But I thought that, like you said, that was a really cool piece of insight that the Sixers have been tapped into what the Bucks have been doing to go on that Super Bowl run.
And I love what Dwight said about the Bucks defense specifically when he went on. He talked about the fact that they really didn't let their opponent breathe. They left no room for Kansas City. And Dwight feels that that's what won them the game. Obviously, some people might say Tom Brady is the reason that they won the game, but Dwight really saw it as a triumph for the Bucks defense. And he wants the Sixers defense to try to emulate that sort of throat stomping, don't let them breathe type of vibe. And I liked hearing that from Dwight for sure.
Dwight always wanted to promote good vibes. I thought it was good for the 76ers vibes to see Seth Curry back and contributing in Saturday's game. I don't want to say he only had 11 points. I think what he did was bigger than just 11 points. I think the way it looked like he was able to get into a rhythm, Lauren, was really reassuring and encouraging as he's been trying to find his legs once again after having to go through a couple weeks of health and safety protocols. So obviously, when he can be out there and be himself, it only bodes that much better for the 76ers in the short and long term.
Well, we talked about Seth giving Ben Simmons props, but Seth's teammates have also given Seth a lot of props for the fact that regardless of if he scores 11 points, 0 points, 20 points, Seth is someone that opposing defenses have to respect no matter what. Leaving Seth Curry open is always a bad idea. And the fact that they have to give him that respect on a nightly basis does great things for the Sixers offense. And this morning, I got to catch up with Seth about what he's hoping to see on this road trip. You guys are getting ready to play 4 games on the road against 4 pretty good opponents. What are your goals for the next 4 games? Where are you hoping to see the team grow most?
Just win games. That's pretty much it. Just focus on trying to come in every game and get better. And these are 4 good teams that we're playing against. So take some focus on the road to try to gut it out and win games. And when you're on the road, it's a good chance to come together as a team.
You're one of the more veteran, experienced presences on this team. And when it comes to shooting, when you look at your younger shooters like a Furkan or a Shake, what's impressed you most about those guys? Have you had an opportunity now to sort of get to know them?
Yeah, I mean, they've been good. They're aggressive when they come off the bench. And, I mean, it's a long season, so you need at some point during the season, you're going to need every guy on the team to contribute. And they're learning on the fly throughout the season as well. I know Ferg missed a lot of time early on, and he's a bit up and down, but I mean, he's getting his legs under him, it looks like, and he's been great for us. So, like I said, we're gonna need 1 through 15 or however many we got on the team this year to have a good regular season.
Awesome, thank you, Seth.
Next up, Martin.
Good stuff, Lauren and Seth. And coincidentally enough, Lauren, the next 2 weeks are kind of going to be like it's nice to see you again, Seth Curry tour for the veteran sharpshooter. He really got his first big break with the Sacramento Kings back in 2015-16. Sixers are at Portland next, where Seth spent the 2018-19 season. And then in between those stints, he had some time with the Dallas Mavericks, which are coming into Philadelphia at the end of this month. So an opportunity for Seth to revisit some roots.
Yes, indeed. And teams that are now going to have to give him that respect that we've been talking about when Seth is your opponent.
76ers for sure are going to have to give the Sacramento Kings some respect. Golden One Arena, I forget what they called it, the Cow Palace, maybe Sleep Train Arena before that, whatever it was called. Cow Palace might have been way before then. Whatever it was, Sacramento in recent years has not been the easiest of stops for the 76ers, and the Kings are playing really well right now. They've won 7 out of their last 8 games. They're tied for 7th in the Western Conference. De'Aaron Fox, fantastic. I'm sure a lot of Sixers fans remember watching him closely ahead of the draft a few years back. Buddy Hield is there. Rashawn Holmes, the man in the middle for the Kings. And then Tyrese Halliburton, a really promising rookie.
Yeah, it's a hungry group, and Doc Rivers gave them a lot of props pregame, talking about how well this team has been playing, how they are not to be underestimated. And I do not think the Sixers will underestimate this opponent. They've also expressed how many times, I don't know, Celts, over and over again, have we heard the Sixers say that they want to be a better road team. They want to develop a better road reputation. Tonight, we expect them to all be available. And so far, when they've all been available, there has been only wins. And hopefully tonight the Sixers will hand these Kings their first loss in 4 games. 5 games.
De'Aaron Fox plays, yeah. De'Aaron Fox plays so fast. And the Kings, they had to overcome a stretch when they lost, I think it was 7 out of 9. So what we're seeing right now comes on the heels of that. So this team has really made a dramatic turnaround. But like the 76ers, the Kings play with really good pace. They're also strong scoring on the paint and rebounding on the glass. The Sixers, I think, wise to look at those couple areas. But De'Aaron Fox is an electric player. He scored 36 the last time they out against the Clippers. And then I just think you have to respect the caliber of opponent that the Kings have beaten as of late. So I think this is a good opportunity for the Sixers. Like we talked about at the start, 4 straight games against teams from the Western Conference that have winning records. I like it.
It'll be a good one. It should be interesting and always a treat to get to play Western Conference teams that you're not going to see many times in a season. You don't know for sure if you'll end up seeing this Kings team down the road outside of the regular season. Always cool to just spice it up, see something a little different.
All right, it is time for our Tissot keys to the game. I'll go first tonight. I feel like I put you on the spot, Lauren, the last couple of games. So here's my key. I don't know if it's a key. It's just a storyline. As we bring up the full screen, thanks to our friends at Tissot. So my storyline, I don't know if it's a key, but my storyline is 76ers Tyrese versus Kings Tyrese. Maxey, Halliburton. Halliburton, 12th pick, 9 slots ahead of Mr. Maxey. Tyrese Halliburton averaging around 12 points per game this season. He's knocked down nearly 50 threes, shooting over 44% from beyond the arc. So he's a guy who's given the Kings a real boost. He had a huge fourth quarter to spoil the 50-point game for Nikola Jokic against the Nuggets 2 games ago. So he's been a spark plug. I don't know if he can win it single-handedly a game against a good defense like the Sixers, but I got to keep an eye on.
Love that. Love anytime two exciting rookies can face off, for sure. My key is not unrelated to your key. I said, make sure you lock down the perimeter. When you look at this Kings team, we talked about De'Aaron Fox. He scored 36 the other night. Buddy Hield, 22. And of course, Tyrese Halliburton, all threats around the perimeter, all threats from beyond the arc. Luckily for the Sixers, we say it every time, but having a team with Ben Simmons, with Matisse Thybulle, you can lock down that perimeter. So hopefully tonight they do just that.
No, and I really liked how in the game against the Brooklyn Nets, we saw a couple times a lineup with Matisse and Danny and Ben. You've got some really exceptional perimeter defenders in that group. And the 76ers, overall, one of the best defensive teams in general, but specifically in terms of opponent field goal percentage. Late in games, fourth quarter, the 76ers allow the lowest three-point percentage to opponents in the entire league. So the Sixers have done a great job there. I think that's a terrific key, Lauren. I do. That might be the key.
Thank you. It's not as fun as your key, but it could be the key.
More important. I think more thoughtful, more meaty.
I'm a fan of spicing up the keys. I think our two keys complement each other tonight. I'm all for it.
I'll agree to agree. Thank you, Ryan Coletti and Trevor Gaffney on the sticks. Yes, hashtag NBA vote. Have you done your duty today as a 76ers fan? Have you hashtagged or tagged those three gentlemen with the hashtag? Well, it's actually not hashtag NBA vote. It is hashtag NBA All-Star. Hashtag NBA All-Star. With the tag and the hashtag or for either of those three players. Especially, come on, we got to help Tobias. We got to help Ben. Give him a boost.
You got to do it. If you're a Sixers fan, if you're a fan of those guys, make sure you get your votes in. They really count. They really matter. And how cool would it be to see all three of them at the All-Star game this year?
Something else, I would put voting for those three guys as All-Stars as your top duty as a 76er fan. Secondarily to that, we would love for you to subscribe to our brand new podcast. It's daily. It's about 5 minutes. You get game previews from Lauren Rosen, Matt Murphy. I'll blabber for a bit the morning after games. But The Scoop is our new daily 5-minute podcast. Search for it, 76ers Scoop, wherever you get your pods. It's on a different feed from the broadcast and our main feed. But please do subscribe. It's been fun to do. Just another piece of content. Try to help the people, you know?
Absolutely. If you want content, you've come to the right place. Thank you, as always, for watching this content with us. It's always a pleasure to do 7-6 Countdown presented by Tissot. If you're still watching, we really appreciate you. And keep coming at us in the comments and in the DMs, wherever. We always are here for feedback and for submissions to Mailbag Monday. Feedback, questions, whatever. Engage with us.
Time to go load up on some caffeine and get through these late night games.
Cheers.